Hey, you Michiganders, big weekend coming up, loaded with college football. Michigan, a 33.5-point favorite hosting Indiana. Michigan State, 5.5-point underdog at Rutgers. Eastern Michigan, a 10-point favorite hosting Kent State. That's a lot of Michigan football. Sunday, Detroit now has a record of 4-1 and is a 3.5-point favorite hosting Tampa Bay. Not sure how I feel about that. Got to think about that. I got a couple of days to get my act together. My listeners in Michigan, they're loving the Play Gun Lake Casino and Sportsbook app, the only app that I recommend in the great state of Michigan. Download the Play Gun Lake Casino app right now. Get all your favorite casino games right at your fingertips and bet on the college and pro football action this weekend. Odds and slots and bets and games, all the fun stuff. New users only. Take advantage of a special casino bonus. It's got to be wagered. Terms and conditions apply. See the website at playgunlake.com for details. Got to be 21 and in Michigan. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline, 1-800-270-7117. Time now for the headlines from Smerconish.com, the Tuesday edition of the newsletter. Yesterday, thanks for the 21,304 votes cast. I hope that the majority had the wrong answer. Will the Israel-Hamas conflict remain localized or become a broad regional war? 54.76% said a broad regional war. For all the reasons that I've been explaining, I'm concerned, obviously, about what's going on. The newsletter today really heavily focused on the situation in Israel. As a matter of fact, I think the number is, I'm looking at it now, 12 of the 20 links. 12 of the 20 links are all about the conflict. The Associated Press coverage leads. Hamas threatens to execute the hostages. Some have already been killed. Politico, U.S. and Israel uncertain on the Iran role. There's conflicting reporting. Wall Street Journal yesterday, Politico, and the Washington Post today talking about what exactly was the Iranian role. I don't want to make a WMD mistake. I don't want to leap to the conclusion that they definitely were involved, but I'm just trying to give you all perspectives. Natan Sharansky's op-ed from the Washington Post saying Israel's right to defend itself now is really going to be put to the test. Again, trying to give you a little bit of balance. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib talking about grieving the loss of both Israelis and Palestinians. We have that from the Michigan Advance. Mediaite's coverage of Jonathan Greenblatt, the ADL director, on Morning Joe yesterday, saying, who's writing your scripts? Hamas? Al Jazeera, their coverage, saying that certain critics wonder if there's a double standard by Western leaders saying, wait a minute, you come to the aid of Ukraine because you say Russia invaded them, but you're not similarly looking at the Palestinians or those who are in Gaza relative to Hamas and the Israelis. I don't think that that's an apples-to-apples comparison, but I ran it in the newsletter.
And I love how you look at every single piece of the newsletter. Like every single word, every single picture, everything of the newsletter.
I do.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, there was I'll take the hit for it, but there was like a misplaced apostrophe in the Sunday newsletter, Congresses. Which should have been, I think, C-O-N, capital C-O-N-G-R-E-S-S apostrophe, and instead there was an extra S thrown in there. So, yeah, I'm persnickety about it. I hear from the subscribers, TC.
Oh, so do I. If
something's wrong, amiss. But I love that we all feel proprietary about the newsletter. And the point that I wanted to make is there's great coverage. I give you the New York Times editorial. I give you the Wall Street Journal editorial. I'm trying to provide a variety of perspectives, especially at a time like this, with so much going on and so many of us wanting to be knowledgeable. Okay, so enjoy the newsletter. Subscribe if you're not already. You're right. I'm like William Randolph Hearst.
Yeah,
you know,
like laying the type.
Rosebud. I mean, this is my baby, and I'm. And Alice does a fabulous job.
She does.
She really does.
She's amazing.
She's so earnest. She's hardworking.
Yeah.
She doesn't complain.
No, and she just says yes and just rolls. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And Austin is doing a great job on weekends.
Truly, yeah.
It's a whole project and team.
We got a lot going on.
We really do.
Remember when it was just us?
Yeah. Remember when 300 people voted on the poll question and we were ecstatic?
We're like, wow.
Who are they?
Hundreds.
Who are these 300 people?
It's phenomenal.
Gang, the poll question today, will RFK Jr. make more or less of an impact on 2024 as an independent than as a Democrat? From the NBC coverage of his announcement yesterday that he's running as an independent, a crowd of about 1,000 turned out on a sunny fall day to hear Kennedy speak in front of Independence Hall, where the Declaration of Independence was signed. Some wore suits and ties, others wore homemade Kennedy t-shirts, hats, and buttons, and at least one custom-made cape. One sign read, "I want Camelot."
Wait, did you see a cape? Did you see a cape?
This is the NBC's. No, but I'm just trying to
know, because I know you pay attention. You're the advanced.
I wanted to soak it. Well, they need an advanced man. That's one of my critiques. If I'm giving you the color of what his announcement looked like.
Come on, I'm dying to know. You wouldn't tell me anything. You wanted to wait until this part.
Yeah, like little and big details.
Okay, go ahead.
The little details. Rabbi Shmuley Botek, who's been a guest on this program, he was, I think, the first speaker. I delivered a prayer, said appropriate things about Israel. I'll tell you something interesting that Rabbi Shmuley said. He castigated the Biden administration for not giving Robert Kennedy Jr. Secret Service protection.
How do you get Secret Service protection? How do you qualify?
In this case, it would require the president, I guess through Treasury.
No, but like how does presidential candidates get that normally? Why would he have it?
Oh, I mean, because he had an armed guy show up at his event 2 weeks ago, because he lost his father, because he lost his uncle.
In other words, because he's a Kennedy, this is not because he's a presidential candidate. They don't usually get it at this time of the race.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Because of the unique security.
Understood.
Hey, you remember when we hosted him for a SiriusXM POTUS town hall in the suburbs of Philadelphia, and he had a serious security contingent.
He had a serious security contingent, and we had a security guy from SiriusXM and the local people on site, and they were all coordinating, and it was intense. It was intense. So
in terms of advancing, if you want my critical eye as an advanced man looking at Kennedy's announcement,
it seemed like there were a lot of people there. Am I just looking like
it was a healthy crowd?
Okay.
Yeah, it was in front of the National Constitution Center, so that he was facing Independence Hall. It's a gorgeous vista.
Right.
It's a wonderful, wonderful place. So, just like some minor things.
Tell me.
In between the speakers, you gotta have a soundtrack. You can't have like Rabbi Shmuley come out and fire up the crowd and then have silence.
Oh, they didn't play music
and then 2 or 3
them?
minutes, and then another speaker comes out like, "Hey, hello, Philadelphia."
No.
So Cheryl Hines introduced Curb Your Enthusiasm. Cheryl Hines, Larry David's TV wife, she introduced her husband, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and then Bobby came out, and Bobby he had a Madonna mic on him.
I saw that.
He had
wasn't there also a mic on the stage?
And there was a mic on the podium.
Yeah.
I hate, by the way, in my own public speaking, in my rider.
Yes.
In my rider.
With the M&Ms?
No Madonna mics.
Well, they don't work with your head.
Right. They slide all over my noggin. And if I perspire a little bit, like if I eat a hot pepper, then it's all over.
Because you usually eat a hot pepper before
I speak. That's what I do. That's my drill. That is exactly what I do. So Cheryl came out, and she was good.
Was she? I saw the video. I'm just going to ask you this, just between us.
Go ahead.
No one's listening. Go ahead. Like, was she a little wacky? She seemed a little bit like a little.
She's a comedian.
Okay. All right. I was like, what's going on here?
I think she was introduced as the funniest first lady we'll ever have.
Okay. All right. Then maybe that makes sense, because it seemed very performative, and I just wasn't sure.
I think that's fair.
Okay, fine.
So now she introduces Bobby, and Bobby comes out, and he's got the Madonna mic. I'm telling you this for a reason.
Of course.
And he approaches the podium.
Okay.
And he says something like, "My script is upside down."
To whom? The crowd?
Well, no, to an aide.
Oh.
Okay. And then there's some like guy comes over and he's like, I can't read my script. But you hear it because the Madonna mic is turned on.
Oh my God. It's like when someone went to the bathroom during the debates.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, if you have a mic strapped to you, you always assume it's hot.
Right.
But it wasn't so embarrassing, was it, or was it?
No, it wasn't. And then the aide seemed to show him maybe he was looking in the wrong place, and then
like was he looking like a reflection?
And then Bobby like gives the guy like a love tap. Hey, it's all good, and then he goes into his speech.
By the way, did you see on his Instagram the day before? So 2 days ago, he was running up the Rocky steps.
No.
Oh yeah, to the Rocky music.
Really?
Oh yeah, like bounding up there.
Listen, the poll question today asks if he's going to have more or less of an impact on 2024 as an independent than as a Democrat. I think it's a yes vote potentially. Again, my audience has heard it from me before. I'm surprised that he didn't take the Green Party label because that would have made it easier for him to get on ballots. Now, like Cornel West, like Marianne Williamson, you got to go out and raise the money and go through the whole petition process.
Who is running as the Green Party candidate?
I don't know.
No one knows.
I don't know. I don't know. But that's probably
I have so many questions.
Probably a dereliction of duty on my part because I should know that, but I don't know. Anyway, if the guy can get 15% and if there are debates, meaning in the fall, Commission on Presidential Debates, Frank Fahrenkopf and company.
Right.
I could see Bobby getting on that debate stage. And I'll say this, TC, and you've already heard me talk about the substance of his message. This is just the color I'm giving you now. But in terms of the substance, if you look at Smerconish.com today, I published not a story about his announcement. I published his speech, because I want people to read the speech. Now, I know some of you are going to say, well, he's wacky and he's anti-vaxxer and so forth. But my God, those remarks, as I think I've proven here, could have come out of my mouth most days of the week on POTUS.
Who was the crowd?
Very mixed.
Very mixed.
Just very hard to categorize.
Okay.
And I was in the press area, but I could see lots of people.
You were in like a designated press area?
So it seemed, but yes.
So when you went up there, who did you say? Who did you find? Who did you see? Where did you go?
Just a lot of cameras and random folks.
You didn't just walk up to the press area.
I was there covering the event. I mean, I was not.
But did you give an ID? Like, how did you get into the press area?
No, I was registered.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have questions.
Armband.
Seriously? Okay. Mm-hmm. Did you have to go through a magnetometer?
Everyone did.
Oh.
Everyone did. I'm telling you, there's a security concern that I think is legit around here.
Okay.
More headlines now from the Tuesday edition of the Smerconish.com daily newsletter. By the way, enjoy, if you're a subscriber, the Jack Oman editorial cartoon. Commander, as in the former first dog, takes a meeting in Hollywood. Enjoy. It's very funny.
We all need a little enjoyment.
Yeah,
these
we
days.
need a little levity.
Fine.
Well, okay, this actually relates back to our concerns now about terror and the situation in Israel. On any other day, I don't think I would have flagged this and put it in the newsletter, but Josh Meyer is a national security analyst at USA Today, and he writes about travel tips that apparently come from the CIA. On how to keep yourself safe.
Why wouldn't you put this in the newsletter any other day? I thought this was one of the most fascinating things I'd ever read.
Oh, go ahead.
I thought it was what the idea was to be the gray man, is what they say in the CIA.
The gray man.
And the idea is do not stand out. Blend in.
Right.
Don't wear fancy jewelry. Don't wear fancy watches, especially. Just try to be as nondescript and non-memorable as possible. And then, so that's the first thing, to blend in, to not seem to be an American, so you're not going to be a target of a theft situation. But they also have all kinds of other things about how to walk, where to go, how to act. I found it very interesting,
including
really worthwhile.
Objective number 2, settling in. The CIA tip: know your escape route from your hotel room, familiarize yourself with emergency evacuation plans, and do a run-through to determine how many doors there are between your room and the nearest stairwell. Could you find it in the dark? Could you do it holding your breath in a smoky haze?
But also they said only take the stairs in an emergency. Usually use the elevator because the stairs are often a place where there's attacks.
Got to read these tips.
I mean, I found it fascinating.
They're in the daily newsletter.
Yeah.
These are the non-Israel specific headlines.
Right.
Some of them. Actually, the reason I put this in, Roger Waters telling Floyd fans to F off, is in part because
what went on?
Okay, so I want to quickly give you this story because of my background with Roger Waters, having interviewed him, and you guys all remember. So this I'm legitimately interested in. Roger Waters has just redone Dark Side of the Moon. in a very unique, obviously without anybody else from the band. It's like Roger Waters and some supporting musicians in a very unique way. I've listened to some of the cuts. So he just released Dark Side of the Moon, a new version, one of the most iconic, most popular albums ever. I'm sure it's still in like the Billboard chart, if there is a Billboard chart today. So he also has a memoir coming out. I don't know if the memoir has yet come out. So he's in London, and he just did a pair of shows, and apparently what he intended to do was read from his forthcoming book and then play some music from Dark Side of the Moon. But it sounds like the audience didn't know what they were getting in a 2,000-seat theater.
Okay, is that what happened? Because I was like, wait, why are they leaving because he's doing that? Didn't they come to hear him read from his memoir? But did they think they were getting pure music?
I don't know.
Oh, interesting.
According to several disgruntled audience members, he spent an hour reading from his unpublished autobiography. By the way, do you know who once told him in friendlier times that he should write a memoir?
Yes.
Me.
I do. I remember that.
And he actually sent me a few chapters to read.
Wow.
This is now pre-COVID.
Yeah.
So apparently during COVID, he locks himself in a room and he starts to write and he enjoys the experience.
Good.
Anyway, according to several disgruntled, but I'm sure I'm in that book, not being thanked for giving him the idea, right? I'm sure.
You're no gentleman.
I'm no gentleman. He will not have me in his club.
No.
According to several disgruntled audience members, he spent an hour reading from his unpublished autobiography instead of singing, and even told them to fuck off when they complained.
Well, there you go.
So,
he's not taking any
wait,
guff
to
from
bring
anybody.
this back to Israel,
Oh.
I read about Dark Side of the Moon, and I thought, what has he said about the Hamas attack on Israel? Interestingly, and this is at least as of up until this moment in time, in his Twitter feed, nothing. In his X feed, which is for him shocking, and it has to be because he's dropped this new album and doesn't want to intrude on the.
That's a loud silence, though.
For him,
a lot of people are saying that if celebrities are not speaking up in support of Israel, that's in and of itself saying something.
True. Silence is speech. Taylor Swift.
So Taylor Swift, this Friday, the Taylor Swift The Eras Tour is premiering in more than 4,000 theaters across North America. And the issue that they're thinking of in these movie theaters is that Taylor Swift has encouraged a sort of concert atmosphere for this performance, for this show. So that means, you've seen the people dressing up for her concerts.
The Swifties.
So this is dressing up, the friendship bracelets, singing along. And so the people in the theaters themselves, the people that manage the theaters, are concerned about how they're going to manage this, because maybe some people don't want someone to be singing along and standing up and all these things. They're like, this is still a movie. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that happens.
I wonder.
She's so wildly popular.
I wonder if like in our local multiplex.
Yeah.
I wonder, I suspect that there's enormous demand.
Enormous.
I wonder if they're running it in several theaters at once.
Oh, I would think so.
I wonder, like, if you're there's nothing I'm currently looking to go see in terms of a movie, but I'm wondering, like, if you were in a neighboring theater, I imagine you're going to hear all the Swifties. This is not.
You wouldn't hear them you don't hear the other theaters.
I think this is going to be extraordinary.
I do too. I mean, there's no question. Oh my God.
A lot of showings.
There's
a story from Deadline at Smerconish.com today. Linear television, that's the TV that I appear on. Linear television is in trouble. People are going in a streaming direction, and they've all cut the cord. Not all cut the cord, but a lot of the youngins are cutting the cord. What will keep linear television going for the next 2 years, however, the 2024 election. And interesting because, I've told you before about the emphasis on the demo, 25 to 54. In this case, it's the over 55-year-olds who are the most reliable voters, and the politicians want to reach them and are expected to spend $11 billion between now and the campaign and the campaign's aftermath. Another television note, and also speaking of cable television, Monday was the first day for the new boss at CNN, Mark Thompson, who previously ran both the New York Times and, before the New York Times, the BBC. In fact, Prince Charles, now King Charles, but I don't think that he knighted him, but he gave him a title So
Nice.
I'm soon to.
No, he did knight him. He's Sir.
I'm soon to meet him. Sir.
You're going to meet Sir Mark Thompson?
Sir Mark Thompson.
Oh, good. Fantastic. I would
Yes,
call him
my
Your
lordship.
Honor. Exactly.
By the way, he doesn't know me. Like, wouldn't it just be funny if I, like, yes, Your Excellency. No, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And just acted straight, like
from what I've read about him, I think he might think that's funny. I don't know. You'll have to report back.
A yes, Pontiff.
Yes. The Dalai Lama.
Arnold Schwarzenegger has a new book out. It's a self-help book. He told Howard Stern that when he looks in the mirror at his aging body, it just sucks.
It's so funny. He is so.
I feel the same way.
He says he's so used to seeing cuts and this and that, and they're just not there anymore. They're just not there. He speaks for all of us. It's just a riot.
The True Lies actor only allows himself to have 2 meals every day.
I thought that was
now in a bit. So what 2 are they? Breakfast and dinner. I don't have lunch because the system just slows down and it just doesn't burn off the stuff that well anymore.
Yeah. So he's doing intermittent fasting in the middle of the day.
Right.
I like it.
I have cords on. You'll be interested to know for the first time this season.
Oh, good. Yes. Wow. Kick it up. Good. Nice.
And when I put them on,
yeah,
they fit.
Nice.
So when would I last have worn cords?
Last November.
March. No. Last have worn March.
Yes.
When would I hang up my cords?
March, April. I'm going
Maybe
with March.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe like an aberrant cold day in April.
But what you're saying is this summer was not a weight gainer for you.
Correct.
Nice.
Yeah,
Right.
I am saying
Onward
that.
you go.
I am saying
Good
exactly
work.
that.
Yeah. You got to teach Arnold a thing or two.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for subscribing to the newsletter. Remember, you get editorial cartoons that nobody else gets to see Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from award-winning, really funny and insightful editorial cartoonists. What else? Like and subscribe on YouTube. If you've never watched YouTube before, go to my YouTube page and look at TC and me doing the headlines. Yes, I got that right.
Grammar.
What else? TC After Dark on Thursday.
Woo-hoo!
We're 2 days away from that.
Absolutely.
And wait, there's something important that I want to tell you.
Okay, hurry up.
I have a daily podcast. There's an element from the program every day that gets dropped as a podcast. And we sit back and we say, what did we really like today? And we put it out as a podcast. Well, we've just added something. And that is just a brief couple of minutes, me drilling down and discussing the poll question of the day. So go to my podcast page and take advantage of this additional offering. Okay, have a great day.